Good evening. I call to order the Lake Havasu City Council regular meeting on Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023 at 5:40 p.m. We're 10 minutes late. Sorry we got held up in another meeting, but glad to be here. We'll now have the invocation from Pastor David Jackson from the Hilltop Community Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Lake Havasu Gem and Mineral Society.
Let's have a word of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for life. We thank you for our city. We thank you for these men and women who are willing to serve us. We just pray that you bless them. We pray that you bring unity in our community, and we pray that you are glorified in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone remove your hats for the Pledge of Allegiance. And stand, please. Sorry. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you. You may be seated.
Yeah, thank you. Today we're joined by the Lake Havasu Gem and Mineral Society. We have Jason Upchurch and Steve Prather. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for this opportunity to come in and speak with you guys and do this whole pledge. I've never done that before, so that's great. As a new president, it's been fun so far, and I've been able to do a couple events like this. So it's been fun getting out in the community, and I look forward to do a little more. And, you know, we're supposed to be big on the community. We're a nonprofit. We do rock counting trips where we go out and find gems, minerals, all kinds of cool stuff, all kinds of pretty stuff. And then we have a beautiful lapidary shop. Steve here is the director down there. It's down there on London Bridge Road in case any of you haven't checked it out. Full lapidary shop. You can bring rocks in there. We cut them down. You can basically turn them into full jewelry by the time you're running out of there. We're going to start doing silversmithing classes. And that's the thing. We do classes. We teach how to cut the rocks. We teach how to be safe in there. So he does safety classes, how to use all the equipment. If you're not familiar with that, we teach you. So yeah, we're a pretty big club. We're at 276, I believe, right now in members, which is a little high for summertime. Usually we lose quite a bit when everyone goes home. So it's a fun thing. Everyone has their own thing. Everyone's into different minerals and rocks. And then when we have our out-of-towners in, they bring rocks from all their home states. So it's really cool. We all trade and give each other gifts from, our adventures and our little mining adventures. And, we do local mining. We fire agate mining. So we go out and collect stuff. They go collect stuff and we all trade and we all make jewelry. And, it's been really great. And I end up disabled. So this has actually been a perfect outlet to any kind of medical problems or anything. So getting in that shop, you lose track of time and you cut rocks and all of a sudden you decide this is beautiful. I'm making jewelry. And it's just been really fun. So we do hand out scholarships. We just handed out 2 scholarships to like earth science based, what do you call it, majors. Mm-hmm. So we do little scholarships for high schoolers, which is pretty cool. And we have a retail shop also down in the museum. So we kind of have a lot going for a club. Not all clubs have all that going. So thank you guys for letting us share. If you're interested, come on down. We have a cool little retail shop, but our lapidary shop is our pride and joy. We have all kinds of cool stuff in there, and yeah, we teach classes, and we're looking forward to doing. We do little kids classes and kids tours too. So.
Yeah, fantastic. So, well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for giving the pledge, and thank you for all that you guys do. You guys are also one of the oldest clubs we have in Lake Havasu City. So,
yes. Our first Gem and Mineral Society show was actually in 1970, I believe. So, yeah, we put on that too every year at the Aquatic Center, and that's actually a lot of fun. So, we're already planning. We got it ready for November coming up. So,
yeah, excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right, the next item on our agenda is the roll call. Ms. Williams, if you please call the roll.
Council members Nancy Campbell. Here. Michelle Lynn. Here. Cameron Moses.
Here.
Jenny Koch. Here. Jim Dolan.
Here.
Vice Mayor David Lane.
Here.
Mayor Kal Sheehy.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5 is our consent agenda. Would any of the council members like to remove any of the items for separate discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Koch?
Motion?
Please.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Koch, and we have a second from Vice Mayor Lane. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is correspondence, communications, petitions, announcements, and the city manager report. Item 6.1 is the investment report as of March 31st, 2023. Ms. Olson provided this in our packet for council review. Are there any comments or questions for Ms. Olson? All right, seeing none, those are filed as such. Item 6.2 is announced vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. Ms. Williams?
Mayor and City Council, there are several current and upcoming vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. The following is a listing of those vacancies. Airport Advisory Board, 4 regular members, 4 regular pilot members, and 1 regular non-pilot member, 1 alternate member pilot, and 1 alternate member non-pilot. Board of Adjustment, 2 regular members, 2 alternate members. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, 2 regular members. Planning and Zoning Commission, 1 regular member, 1 alternate member. And the Public Safety Personnel Retirement System, 1 regular member. Anyone interested can pick up a packet at City Hall. They're also available on the city's website. And the deadline to submit applications to the city clerk's office for consideration of these upcoming and current vacancies is this Friday, May 26th by 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6.3 is the city manager's report. Good evening, Mr. Knudsen.
Hey, good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. If you recall, at the last council meeting, I provided an update in the city manager report where the CTE fire program for our students as part of the fire science program. Everyone passed their technical skills assessment test with a 100% pass rate. To celebrate, the CTE students showcased their the skills that they learned for the parents at an open house. And it was hosted by Chief Palafis and our Lake Havasu City Fire Department. Here are a few pictures that showcase that event as they put their skills to use for everybody to see. And here's a picture with all the students at the CTE program, as well as Gina Gutierrez, and who led that effort, and all of our other CTE instructors. So a very cool picture and a very successful program. Mayor, I'm not sure if you won, but last Saturday you raced against the area mayors. Of course, there on the left is Mayor Steve D'Amico from Bullhead City, and in the middle there is Mayor Ken Watkins from Kingman. So every year the Kingman has their annual Route 66 street drag race.
None of the mayors won. Yeah, Kingman PD was the winner, but they have training.
Mayor, I personally thought you were going to do a running race, and I figured you'd win.
Oh, yeah.
We were in vehicles.
Very fun. Mayor, Council, and City staff, we visited the Starline School for their Dude Be Nice, as well as the Starline Kid City programs. Both are just wonderful events. The Starline School also visited and toured the city facilities just last week for their Community Hero Day program here at the city. Mayor, you participated in this year's Lake Havasu High School Ed Rising dodgeball game that had the teachers versus the students, and I understand the teachers won the game this year. Mayor, you presented a certificate to Deegan Cordova. He is a high school senior that signed with Vanderbilt University for baseball. I hear they have a wonderful program, so congratulations to you, Deegan. And lastly, congratulations to all the seniors of Lake Havasu High School that are graduating this Thursday. Good luck to every single one of you, and I know that your future is bright. And lastly, the community is invited to join VFW Post 9401 at Wheeler Park, which is located at 1801 McCulloch Boulevard North. We'll gather to honor those that sacrificed their lives while serving in the U.S. military, protect our freedoms back here in the States. The VFW asks that if you want to attend, please bring your own chair and your own water. With that, Mayor and Council, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Knudsen. We'll move on to item 7, our public hearings. Item 7.1 is discussion and possible action, if necessary, to comply with Arizona open meeting law following the executive session regarding the city magistrate annual evaluation, the city manager annual evaluation, and the city attorney annual evaluation. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? All right, we'll close the public hearing. What occurred today was the city council evaluated the 3 contract positions that report to the city, and we'll bring back any additional action at a public hearing, a subsequent public hearing. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Mr. Mayor, motion.
Vice Mayor Lane.
I move that the evaluations of the city magistrate, city manager, and city attorney are favorable and direct staff to draft employment contracts as discussed in executive session to be brought back for council consideration at a future meeting.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Lane, a second from Councilmember Dolan. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6 council members voting yes and 1 council member recusal.
Thank you. Item 7.2 is adopt resolution number 23-3658, dissolving the Lake Havasu City Improvement District Number 4, the McCulloch Median. Ms. Gary?
Mayor and council, this item was discussed during the budget process by council, and there was interest in looking at dissolving it. After further discussion and direction from council, we're coming forward with this item to dissolve the District Number 4, which was established in 1987. The improvements within the district were originally constructed by Mojave County under a county improvement district. When those improvements were completed and the bonds were satisfied, the city then created a new improvement district to take over for the dissolved county district. So the purpose of this district was to maintain the gas lights and median landscaping on McCulloch Boulevard from Smoke Tree Avenue to Lake Havasu Avenue. The maintenance of the improvement amounts to approximately $60,000 per year and includes irrigation, tree shrub trimming, raking, turf maintenance, and fountain operation. The maintenance activities serve the community as a whole and is not specifically beneficial to the district. If the district is dissolved, the city would assume the financial responsibility for maintaining the improvements on city-owned property within the district. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Do any members of the council have any questions for Ms. Gary? And again, this is just the follow-up action to our last budget hearing where we had the discussions to dissolve this district. All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion.
Mayor,
Councilmember Moses?
I move to adopt resolution number 23-3658, dissolving Lake Havasu City Improvement District Number 4.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Moses, a second from Councilmember Dolan. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Item 7.3 is adopt resolution number 23-3657, dissolving Lake Havasu City Improvement District Number 7, the McCulloch Streetscape. Ms. Gary?
Mayor and council, it was recently discovered that we still have on the books an improvement district number 7. This was a district that was established in 2000 to make certain improvements to the streetscape of McCulloch Boulevard from Smoke Tree Avenue to Acoma Boulevard. The improvements included street improvements, concrete sidewalks, landscaping, irrigation systems, street benches, litter receptacles, pedestrian roadway lighting, electrical services, and other related items. All the improvements under this district are completed and the assessments and bonds were satisfied long ago, so over 10 years ago now. The district has been inactive for quite some time and it's no longer necessary and it's beneficial to now dissolve the district to avoid future confusion. So when anybody comes to buy or purchase property in that district, it comes up on a title report that this district exists and they have to call and confirm with the city. We have to tell them that there are no assessments, and so it's floating out there. So this is a housekeeping item to go ahead and dissolve this district to get it off of our books. And happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the council for Ms. Gary? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion.
Mayor,
Councilmember Moses?
I move to adopt resolution number 23-3657, dissolving Lake Havasu City Improvement District Number 7.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Moses and a second from Councilmember Koch. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Item 7.4 is approve the purchase of furniture, products, and services for the courthouse with Goodman's Interior Solutions, utilizing an Arizona cooperative contract. Judge Clowley.
Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you folks tonight. We are in the process of building a new courthouse, and at some point we need to put something in that courthouse. And so we come before the council tonight to have that discussion. It's what you see before you is divided basically into 4 different parts. The first floor, the second floor, a filing system, and then a cuff bench, which is required for when we have prisoners in the courthouse. The first floor total amount is almost $451,000. Second floor, $84,000. The cuff bench, $2348, and the filing system, $122,000. And that's how it breaks down. It includes 3 courtrooms, 1 jury assembly room, 5 conference rooms, 8 offices, 11 workstations, 7 offices, 1 more office, 5 conference rooms, a little over 300 chairs, guest chairs, 100 task chairs, council tables. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And it's just what we need to be able to function once we get into that building and to be able to provide the service, the best service that we can for the people that come into the courthouse. And so if there are any specific questions about any of those, I can tell you that we've, I believe, done a very good job at going over everything repeatedly to make sure that there wasn't anything that shouldn't be in there. I know that at some point there were a few mistakes that were caught that changed the amount for the better. And we're grateful that we have good people that look through everything and make sure that it happens the way that it needs to. So with that, any questions or comments?
Yeah, thank you, Judge Clowley. I just like to point out more for informational purposes on the fiscal impact of our council communication that these costs are included in the future expenditure section of the October 2022 presentation that council had for the award of the courthouse construction contract. So if you remember when we awarded that contract, we had line items in that presentation that said, okay, what else is out there that we have to do so we can look at this completely exclusive of everything. And these numbers were in there in the budget. So thank you for pointing that out in the council communication. I think that's important just as a reminder for those that are following this project. Do any members of the council have any questions for Judge Clowley? All right, seeing none, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? If so, just make your way to the podium and state your name for the record.
Bonnie Toy. Dude, you're really tall. When I was looking at the stuff on the contract on the internet at the county or city's website, I was curious as to why there was a thing where it said option A, B, C, D, and then it didn't give the prices of what those options were and what that means later on. Like, are you guys going to be asking for more later or not more later?
Yeah, thank you. Judge Clowley will answer that question.
Mayor and council, thank you. I appreciate the question. So previously, in I don't know, 5 or 10 iterations before, what came before the council was what we were going to do with the building itself. Are we going to have 3 courtrooms on the bottom and build out the full floor and do all of those things? And so we had different options based on what we've believed was going to be best for the court. And so there aren't any options other than what we have right now, that we've gone through all of those other options. And so the council chose what we're getting now. And so that might have been something that happened maybe a long time ago when we had the different options.
I was looking at the paperwork that the sales order that is on the website, the city council website, it shows the sales order, and then it shows like what chair or something you're ordering, and then it says option A, glider, option C.
Yeah, if I may, the folks at home aren't able to hear you, Ms. Toy, but you're talking about individual items that are on the proposal that are on the city website, and then it shows options. So it's just the option of choosing the black frame versus a gray frame. It's specifying out the exact specifications in which the particular piece of furniture is going to be delivered. So there's certain options that a chair, you could pick a certain upholstery color, a certain arm chair, an arm cover, a certain metal color. So it's just outlining those and specifying the exact details of the particular items that we're receiving.
Right, but it doesn't say how much extra the option.
The cost is the same.
So the
It's
cost
the
would be
unit
same.
cost.
It's like a blue chair versus a brown chair. And there's no difference in the cost of the chair, but you have the option of choosing the blue chair or the brown chair.
Correct.
No gliders.
Right.
or-
Yeah.
I would think if you're not putting gliders on, it would cost less.
Yeah. Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the city council on this item?
Good evening, Don Wisdom, Mayor and Council. It's appropriate I come up and say something. We were up in Kingman to support a councilman, my brain is missing. Who? Yeah. No. Abe, yeah. It wasn't not talking about him. I'm talking about the courtroom that we was in. I thought it was kind of small. And is there going to be any decor behind the judge? Is there going to be an elaborate looking nice piece of wood up there where the judge sits?
Isn't the judge the coroner?
Yeah, Mr. Wisdom, Judge Kelly will answer that question for you.
So there's a mirror that will make the judge look a lot more handsome than he actually is. That will be right behind there, and it just shines down. There, I do believe that the city logo will be the city will be on the back of that there.
Similar to what you see on the wall,
Yes.
off to my right.
The city seal.
All right. Would anyone else like to address the city council on this item? All right. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion.
Mayor, motion.
Vice Mayor Lane.
I move to approve the cooperative purchase of furniture, products, and services at the courthouse with Goodman's Interior Solutions utilizing Arizona State Cooperative Contract in the amount of $659,815.98.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Lane and a second from Councilmember Moses. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-1.
Thank you. Item 7.5 is approve the lease agreement with River Cities United Way for office space at 145 North Lake Havasu Avenue, Fire Station number 5.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Councilmember Lane.
I would like to recuse myself, please.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to Ms. Gary for a presentation.
Mayor and council, for over 20 years, United Way has leased approximately 2,000 square feet of office space within Fire Station number 5, located at 145 North Lake Havasu Avenue. The current lease agreement expires on June 30th, 2023, and United Way expressed interest in entering into a new lease for this space. The proposed agreement would commence on July 1st, 2023, and expire on June 30th, 2026. The rent under the current lease agreement is $461.09 per month. The proposed agreement before you suggests increasing the rent to $512.50 per month. The purpose of the increase is to determine and apply a base rent amount to leases that the city has with other nonprofit entities. The proposed rent amount equates to 25 cents per square foot per month and is presented as a discussion point for council. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Gary.
Mayor, question?
Yeah, Councilmember Campbell.
Yes, it has come to my attention, let me get my notes here so I say what I need to do. Come to my attention that by Councilmember Lynn, that there are other cities, including Arizona, Tempe, Casa Grande, are renting out some of their city-owned properties to nonprofits that serve the community with social services at no cost or just $1. And is there any reason we can't do that with our social service agencies, specifically the contract we are talking about with United Way? And I did do my own research on this, and including like, what does the museum even pay? And what's the difference between the museum and this? And why was there all of a sudden a raise, and where did that come about?
So several years ago, the city actually also had $1 per year leases for several of our nonprofit or different types of entities. At the time we started to explore, there was a lot of litigation that was happening with the gift clause of the Arizona Constitution. And so through those processes and looking what the city was doing, the advice that was given to cities and towns was to move away from these kind of nominal types of agreements where it's just $1 or $10 or something like that, and kind of create something where you can show, you have to show like a benefit and a cost. So as long as you can come up with some kind of reasoning or some sort of formula, then you stand a better chance of not being challenged as far as violating the gift clause of the Arizona Constitution. So that's where we kind of started developing these contracts and moving away from those dollar per year leases. And so that's what we've been doing over the years. And so as contracts come that expire, that may be $1 a year, that's when we take that opportunity to go ahead and move them onto the scales that we have now for nonprofits.
So what's the difference between that and the museum?
The museum will expire in, I think it's coming up in a couple years. And so when that comes before the city, then they will be brought back up.
And what was the difference between the 400? I know the financial difference between the 461 to the 512. Well, where did that, I mean, why, if we had to go above the dollar, where did you get those figures? And
over time, so I rely on information that I get from other departments. So we rely on development services and admin services and trying to come up with some sort of formula as to how we come to those rates. And so some of them, particularly like we're dealing with United Way, at the time that they entered into, whatever number I was given from maybe development services, we worked, a lot of times they made in certain improvements and that sort of thing. And so we backed into different numbers. And so the formulas are just based on what was determined to be the market rate at that time for nonprofits. And so over time, that number has changed just depending on where we're getting that number from, just like numbers change in today's market. You'll see different prices per square foot. And so every time a contract comes up, it's kind of evaluated and determining what that market rate may be, and then to get a reduced rate for the nonprofits.
what is our end consequences per se? You say this is constitutional or people are getting away from it. What is our legal liability if we went back to the dollar and said, we're charging $1 because these services do so much for our community, and the $500 a month is not going to make or break the city by all means, and I'm sure it's not going to break United Way either. But what is our end consequences if we just said no? We're just going to charge $1 to the museum and the crisis center and or the United Way per se on a building that's pretty well beat up, let's just say.
Certainly. The council could decide to do that. You would just have to know that you would be subject to litigation and claims being brought forth that you were in violation of the Constitution.
And who's going to do that?
Well, a lot of times it's groups like Goldwater will come forth, or other taxpayers will come forth if they don't feel like the city is following the laws. So it would be any of those parties that would have standing to bring a claim.
One more question, I promise, and then I'll let it go. But we believe that this number right here is within statute because you based it on a percentage of something. So if we had a lawsuit against us because somebody came in and said, I think I could rent that building for $2,000, wouldn't we be in litigation for that? Or what is your basis on that?
Well, I can tell you we can be sued at any time for any reason. So I can't promise you that this is litigation proof. However, we have gone through an evaluation through staff, looking at the market, doing a rebate or a reduction in that based on the services that are provided, because this community obviously does get a benefit from the services that are offered by these nonprofits. And we want to recognize that and give some consideration for that. It's just hard to measure and weigh those. So we know that they're getting a large reduction from what market rate would be. And now we're just trying to apply that equally between all the nonprofits. So we don't have some that are drastically different. So all I'm trying to do in the contracts is get everybody at least on the same page moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Councilmember Dolan.
I agree. Definitely we should stay within the law, especially when we know we need to stay within the lines and we know it's there. I think it's a great organization, just like many of the other nonprofits out there. My biggest concern is, 2,000 square feet for $500 is a great deal, and I'm glad we're able to offer them that. There's also a lot of other nonprofits that would love to jump on that deal as well. So I think we're a very lucky situation that we're able to do that with them. I'd like to keep it at the negotiated amount because I think it's a very fair deal. And like I said, we do have I'm a little worried about the precedent with other nonprofits that would come up in the future. Because like I said, that's a great price. I know there's a lot of nonprofits that would love to have space like that and can't find it. So like I said, I'd be willing to keep it, I think, negotiated.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from members of the council for Ms. Gary on this item?
Mayor?
Yeah, Councilmember
No,
Moses.
I agree. I think this is a smart way forward. I think everybody should be on equal playing ground so that we're not picking one charity over the other. And also, I'll make the comment that the city government is not in the charity business. There's a cost to having those buildings. And so to be passed along taxpayer money to a charity does not feel right to me. I came up here to manage fire, water, police, not to fund nonprofits in Lake Havasu. I do that on my own. I donate, but that's just not what the city does. So we need a process in place, and I thank you for bringing this forward. I think this is the right way, correct path. So thank you very much.
Mayor?
Yeah, Councilmember Campbell.
Councilmember Moses, would you then think it'd be better for us to be charging them market rates?
I mean, personally, market rates might be the way forward. That being said, River Cities, in that case, I don't think River Cities United Way could afford that space if we were to charge that per the right per square footage cost. So I don't. I'm not trying to upset the what we've done. I think this is just a nice moderate approach to managing our businesses, our buildings.
Thank you.
Any other comments before I open the public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item?
Hey, Bonnie Toy. Thanks. Tall people. Quick couple of questions, odd questions. One is why did Michelle have to recuse herself? Is it just because she's the city council liaison, or that I didn't understand? And then does River City United Way, does it actually help the city save money in other venues when you're the government is charity. Taxpayers pay the government to run the world, apparently, and our tax money is our charity money going to the government. So I don't know why the government gets to decide who they help and who they don't help. When you look at it from that perspective, the government is charity because it's coming from your tax money going to the government, and they get to decide where the money goes. But I didn't understand why Michelle had to recuse herself if she's city liaison on the board for the United Way. And does that mean when the other city liaisons stuff comes up that they have to recuse themselves from that? So will the vice mayor be recusing himself from Parks and Rec questions, and will council
Yeah, I think I
members-
understand the question, Ms.
Okay,
Toy.
good.
So we don't have a city liaison to the United Way, but it's
Oh.
my understanding that Councilmember Lynn serves on the board for United Way, and she was not forced to recuse herself. That was something that she chose to do on her own. So
Oh, okay. So she didn't have to recuse herself?
she chose to recuse herself on this item.
Okay. And then does the United Way in our city, does it help our city with financial burdens that you aren't paying, that they are actually paying?
Yeah, so your point was taken. You made a statement to that,
Okay.
and I understand what your statement was on that. So we appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the city council on this item? Yeah, just state your name for the record.
Hi there, Savo Danovich. Curiosity kills me with fiduciary responsibilities that come up with the city council that no one asks, how many buildings do you rent out for $1 within the city of Lake Havasu? Since we're discussing just one, how many are there? Monthly rents that you miss out on, always part of it. And then taxes, NPOs are typically tax-free. So we, in theory, miss out on rent. You miss out on taxes. And then city council people have so I have to hand it to you. You hit the nail on the head. Someone's got to pay. I mean, at some point, while I watched the city council meeting from priors, you have no issue with being 17% behind paying city employees. It might get to the point where 17% is below wages for police officers and firemen, and it continues. So while Councilmember Dolan says that's a great direction in which to take, I draw ire with that people have to pay their fair share. Not everyone who engages in an NPO has the right to have $1 rent. And not everyone gets to engage in such a financial windfall that they're not responsible for keeping up with their community responsibilities. And I find that to be something that would be of discussion, because as you spend money and you wonder why a city police officer doesn't get paid properly, or anyone within your city, you might find that you not only said this once, but you stated it 50 times throughout the year. And if $2,000 doesn't mean anything to you on one building, I would love to hear how many buildings we lease for $1 or at subvented rates. And cumulatively, that could add up to the $1 million, which Mayor Sheehy says is 1% of employment wages, according to what you're detracting from hardworking people in the city, which I'm not one of them. I don't work. I've been blessed. But still, I have to face the facts sooner or later. You're hired in a way. I'm sure maybe you guys are paid. I don't know. But you're hired to be fiduciarily responsible, to manhandle and handle whatever it is the city does with the money. But it's a carefree approach to think that there's no problem with missing out on $40,000. Or if someone wanted to tell me how many, maybe $1 million or more.
Sure. Yeah, thank you for your comments. Yeah, there's very few city assets that we lease to the likes of the food bank, this United Way building, and the museum. And outside of that, it's that pretty much encompasses that. So would anyone else like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion on this lease agreement. And again, I do think that it's important to note that this lease agreement is increasing from the expiring lease on June 30th, but at a rate that would be consistent going forward for all nonprofits in the arena would be the goal.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Dolan?
I'll make a motion.
Please.
I move to approve the lease agreement with River Cities United Way for office space at 145 North Lake Havasu Avenue.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Dolan and a second from Vice Mayor Lane. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries. 5 council members voting yes, 1 council member voting no, and 1 council member recusal.
Thank you. All right, item 7.6 is approve service level agreement with Ron Turley Associates, Inc. for RTA Fleet Management Software Services. Mr. Young.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to ask for your approval for the service level agreement with Ron Turley Associates, also known as RTA Fleet Management. This is a fleet management program directly. That's what they do, is fleet management. For several years, we've been in kind of a one-fits-all type thing, and it doesn't really work for the fleet. Our fleet supervisor and myself, Don Gable, have spent several months looking at 7 different fleet management programs. We looked at the top 3 again, and we came up with RTA. And it will allow us to communicate with our directors and their subordinates on what their fleet does and doesn't need, and communicate effectively around fiscal year end as the RTA system works with the finance program, Oracle as well. So it will interlock with all the city going-ons. So I ask for your approval for a 5-year purchase of $122,931. I'll be
Thank you,
happy
Mr.
to
Young.
answer any questions.
Are there any questions from members of the council for Mr. Young? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Councilmember Campbell,
Mayor, a motion.
please.
I approve suggested action. There we go. I move to approve the service level agreement with Ron Turley Associates, Inc., the RTA Fleet Management Software Service for a term of 1 year with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year extensions at a 5-year not to exceed aggregate amount of $122,931, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement and city staff to exercise the options to renew.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Campbell. We have a second from Councilmember Dolan. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. All right, item 8 is our call to the public. This is an opportunity where citizens have to address the city council on items within the jurisdiction of Lake Havasu City. Your comments are limited to 3 minutes. There is a light indicator box next to Ms. Williams. Green means you have 3 minutes. Yellow means you have 1 minute remaining, and red means that your 3 minutes is up. Again, we ask that you just address us on items within our jurisdiction and address the council directly. So just face forward to us. And this is not an opportunity for us to have a two-way conversation, because generally what you have on this area is something that's not on the agenda. You don't have to sign up to speak at Call to the Public, and we also did not have anyone sign up today. So if anyone would like to address the City Council at Call to the Public, please make your way to the podium and state your name for the record and share your comments.
Just for the fun of it, it's Bonnie Toy. I just want to make a really quick mention. I don't know who runs your Facebook page, but I'm thinking that you may need to ask for a volunteer to run your Facebook page, because I just noticed that, I think it was today or yesterday on your Facebook page, you posted that last month the mayor declared it to be, proclaimed it to be National Volunteer Month. It's now May, and if you declared April National Volunteer Month, the city doesn't get to celebrate with you declaring April National Volunteer Month, and now it's May. So I would just like to recommend highly that maybe perhaps you get a volunteer to help you run the free advertising for the city Facebook page on social media. You may be surprised at what you accomplish that way. Just a thought.
Would anyone else like to address the City Council at Call to the Public?
My name is Corey Castell, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. This is very surface level. I just visited one of these meetings 6-7 months ago, and this front here, I work at a restoration company, ServPro, of Lake Havasu, Kingman, and Bullhead, and it just looks a little shabby, and not sure how we get a work order put in to get that fixed.
Yeah.
I appreciate your folks' time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be fixed.
Yeah. I'm going to be self-conscious the rest of the whole night now. Yeah, people are staring at me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Would anyone else like to address the City Council during Call to the Public? All All right, we'll go ahead and close call to the public. Item 9 is current events. Are there any council committee reports?
Mayor?
Councilmember Campbell?
I wanted to talk about my meeting yesterday. I drove up to Phoenix for our Rural Transportation Advocacy Council, and I'm really inspired by the group's energy and their direction for rural transportation. We were, I'm going to use the word poster child for Mojave County, between our Arizona state legislators and our Rural Transportation Advocacy Council. There were several with so I don't confuse you guys. There was an appropriation bill called HB 2543. It was over $300 million that was going to be allocated for one-time funding for roads and rural roads, all the potholes in the highways that we're all hitting Highway 40 and beyond. So this Rural Transportation Advocacy Council, along with the help of our MPO, Justin, and our Public Works Department, came together with a bunch of items that they thought could be important to our rural area. Mojave County did excel, but you have legislators like Biasucci and Borelli and Gillette that are a fighter for all of us out there every single day, along with the staff, the community and the staff and our public works and the MPOs and the RTACs. So I'm going to say we were working very hard to get an additional matching grant of $10 million to add to the already $10 million that the council and staff are directing to local roads. It's a first-time funding of $10 million for milling and filling, something that the city has been desperately needing and what the constituents have been asking for. We went out through HB 2543 and asked for a matching grant of $10 million. I had the honor of speaking in front of legislation about the importance of milling and filling roads versus pavement preservations. And at the end, we did not receive our matching grant, but we did, however, use it as a negotiation skill to get the funding for the second bridge / our emergency access bridge. Along with that, we had the great announcement that Highway 95 is happening, as we all know. And everybody on city council and mayor, if you haven't gotten it yet, will be getting a pre-construction meeting invitation that I would recommend we go to, because we're going to get a lot of questions as we redo Highway 95. So that's very exciting. I want to also say, through the collaboration of legislators, staff, council members, public works, MPOs, and our legislators, and I'm going to say the collaboration of suppliers and contractors within our community, we were also the poster child of being within $6 million below budget on the infrastructure of Highway 95. So again, we had lots of questions on how we were able to pull that off, and that is just collaboration, communication, and advocacy. So I'm very thrilled about my meeting, as you can tell yesterday, and incredibly proud for our community of what we're going to see in the future. I'm just going to ask everybody to be extremely patient, because you're getting everything you want in life in the rural transportation when it comes to roads, but it's going to be inconvenient. So please be patient with all of us. And today I joined the TAC meeting where Chairman Frosley and MPOs and Justin Hembre and Sarah, the assistant, have done a phenomenal job with traffic studies and how we can improve over the next 5 years, and what Metropolitan Planning Organization does. It's a federal organization that oversees our community to make sure that we can expand and be sustainable as the future comes. So that's my update. It's pretty exciting because I love roads and infrastructure. So we have some good things happening here in our town. We really do. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there other council committee reports? I'll give a quick update on Mojave County Water Authority. We've had some fairly good news on the waterfront just this last week. It's been in the news, but the 3 lower basin states, California, Nevada, and Arizona, have come to a tentative agreement on the shortage agreements to clear the gap to the 2027 interim guidelines, or the 2007 interim guidelines that gets us to 2027. But for the first time, California will be sharing in cuts, which is very, very big. So we're excited as these things come together. We'll continue to have focus on water, but that's really big news that they've been able to come to an agreement without having the federal government force what the outcomes were going to be. So I'll keep you all posted as we continue to work through water and the water availability in our area. All right. Next item on our agenda is our future meetings. On Tuesday, June 13th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m., we'll have a regular meeting. We'll also do our tentative budget and CIP adoption at that meeting. And then on Tuesday, June 27th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m., we'll also have a regular meeting, and that will be our final budget adoption. And then on Tuesday, July 11th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m., we'll have a regular meeting and a property tax levy adoption. Those items are specifically called out because statutorily they're required in that order, in that time frame. So item 11, future discussion items. Item 12, motion to adjourn. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you for being here. Be kind, and we'll see you next time.